Welcome to the 2022 Markley quiz. So we're starting this one off a little different than we've ever done. So rather than me asking a question, I'm going to take a recent SMS phish or smish that has come out and see if you all can figure out four major flaws, indicators. There's four major indicators that this is fake, and two minor indicators. Okay, or two potentials. So I'm going to start. I'm gonna pick on Stan because I'm just mean. So Stan, if you saw this text on your phone, what is one major indicator that this is probably not legitimate?
I think there's a couple of things for sure, but
just
one of the first.
I want to share the pain.
Yes. One of the first things that I see is there's a URL. The message is purporting to come from AT&T, but the URL is not related to AT&T. It doesn't say AT&T.com or something like that. So that's one of the first things that kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies about this text message.
Yep, and that's that's one of the major indicators. Yes, definitely. You look at that URL, and even though they've gone with this short code or this other format of it, it's still, you wouldn't expect this, right, from a major company to not say something ATT in it, right? It's just not normal. All right, Michael, give me another major indicator you notice here.
The offer of a free gift, or any gifts or anything like that. It's just raises suspicion. It's intended to get you to click on something. It's that lure, right? So that's always a red flag.
Yep, that's another major indicator. So we got 2 out of the 4. Like I said, there's 4 major indicators to me, and there may be more that you all spy, but there's 4 major indicators. So Stan, give me another one.
I hate to be nitpicky about grammar, but it definitely, when you're dealing with a major company, you expect them to give you properly formed sentences, even in text messages. And one of the things I see here is it says thanks, comma, space, and then capital H, and it's just not quite right. There's something a little bit off about that to me, and I know that our production teams, right, they would never let something like that go out to as a text message.
Yep, and that's actually now you got me up to 7 because that's a third minor. I would call that minor just because of formatting, but it's a good point. Is that's something that is an indicator. A professional company is going to have grammar. We're gonna, not always. I've seen some interesting notes from us, but not always.
Certainly, we can do well in a few words here, right?
All right, Mike, give me another good one.
Well, this one isn't obvious in the message, but depending upon what month it is, December may or may not be correct. I've actually gotten this message or messages very similar to it over the last several months. And sometimes the months are way off. So, we're in like October and it's telling me that my December bill is paid, or in December and that my October bill is paid. So just making sure that it aligns to something that you would expect is something that I would check for.
Yep. Good. That's another one. Again, that's on the lower side. I'm gonna get you the big ones. Come on, give me a big one, guys. Come on, Stan. Give me a big one.
Well, the one thing I'm looking at, and it's right there, front and center, right, the boldest text is the phone number where the message is coming from. AT&T doesn't usually send messages from a 718 exchange. It would be a different number in general. That just looks like somebody's phone number, right? Not AT&T's. Ours would be like an 800 number or something like that. So that right away kind of jumps out to me. And just I happen to be familiar with the 718 exchange. It's like in Brooklyn or Queens. So that seems really odd to me because I actually can recognize it. And I know it cannot be a legitimate message from a company, from AT&T specifically.
And we almost always say to people, if you see a number and you don't recognize it because it's not in your contacts list, it's probably bogus. I mean, we say that a lot. And I think that's a good point. All right, Mike, I got one more. Give me one more big one, and then I'll cheat and we'll shorten cut at this a little bit. Give me one more good one.
Oof.
There's at least two that are still out there that should be indicators.
Man, you got me.
All right, so I'm gonna give you the one you guys are looking at, and you're staring it right in the face, and you're not even thinking about it. When have we ever called ourselves ATT? Shouldn't it be AT&T?
Yeah.
You know, that is very valid. I've recently spent a lot of time working with systems that strip out ampersands. Yep. So like it's one of those where I was kind of like, it's kind of suspicious, but I don't know if it's necessarily a big one. So
yeah. Well, and the reason I saw that is I know that I get a number of messages from AT&T, like when I've done things, like I've returned a phone, or I've done, or they like your bill's ready, or something like that. And we always do AT&T. So it's maybe a grammar thing, back to we were talking about the grammar, and somebody may have made a mistake, but I've yet to see a message from AT&T that didn't put the ampersand. You all should know this, but if you don't, a lot of people don't, is how do you report it? You forward this to the spam address, which is 7726 if you're looking for the phone number, and it will respond back to you and tell you, thank you, now send me the phone number that sent you this message. So you forward this particular message. You don't respond to it. Please don't respond to any messages you get. And you don't reply, you don't do anything, but you forward it to 7726. AT&T will respond back to you. And they'll say AT&T. They'll also say free message in all uppercase. And then they'll ask you for the phone number. So it's just these little things that we pointed out here are, like I said, this is kind of a little special quiz, but it's just these types of things you don't think about either from a consumer or even a professional perspective, is what are those things that just get us thinking, is this real? Is this right? And I think it's just a good exercise every now and then, especially with these messages. I think we were talking before we started taping that we've all gotten way too many of these particular messages. And I actually got one, and as an AT&T customer, I actually got one that started off VZN free message, believe it or not. And so they're not being real good about knowing whose phone is what even. So you that's another, wouldn't be another indicator that, they say, why did I get that? So, guys, thanks for playing along. I know this was like a little interesting quiz, but I thought, it is really appropriate to what has kind of been proliferating in our environment right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree. To me, I know it's just a text message, but it's kind of like layered security. It's like everything builds up together. So each indicator by itself, you could say, maybe AT&T started a promotion, maybe they got a new domain. But when everything comes together, then it cannot be true. No matter how much you want that free gift, it's probably not legitimate. And unfortunately, you should know not to click on something like this, or you should come to that conclusion. Yep.
Yep. And the more you report it, I think that's the key, is the more you report it, the more it's likely to get blocked. I mean, we all actually share the blocking. That's something that was put into place a couple of years back. So all that stuff gets blocked and is a sharing model. So,
that's a good way to think about it. When you report it, you're kind of helping someone else from becoming a victim potentially. So as you report this more and more, as more people report it, it helps to make sure that others don't get it, and helps to stop these kinds of campaigns in the future. That's really cool.